Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. It's Monday, March 23rd. I'm your host, Jose Galison. This is the kitty of the day. We haven't quite decided on name yet. I think we've been calling him Marvin Ari Melvin, a mixture of names. My kid, I don't know why they were indecisive between Marvin and Melvin, and then I decided to call it Ari because he's kind of got like a Jew face, so he kind of looks like Ari Shafir. But this is one of the little kitties. You guys begin more of the little kitties now. I just moved them over to the kitty room, so they're accessible when I'm doing these morning shows. So begin more of those as opposed to adult kitties. We'll be really having kitties of the day as opposed to cats of the day. But for those who like seeing my hot takes of the day, Monday through Friday around 11 a.m. Eastern when we make it and when we make it on time. Or if you just like seeing the kitty of the day, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications so you can see when I'm going live, when I'm dropping new videos. We'll see you in the show.
Beautiful thing, right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to the white light.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
Crazy evil.
Good morning. Hope you guys are having a good morning. A nice productive one. I have got a little workout in already. Got some stuff done. And I hope you guys are as well. If not, we're going to get going on it, or otherwise we're going to keep that trend a-going. We have plenty to go through today. We have as always, we start the show off with icebreaker type content, is what we call it. Just kind of more gen pop, I don't know, more fun, funny, a little less serious, a little less deep divey. And then we'll get into the foreign policy segment, which once again, as has been pretty common recently, it has taken over a whole segment as opposed to just being its own little sideshow thing. It's getting its own named segment today. We're doing World War Over? ? Then we're getting R.I.P. and then the P has in parentheses piss, so rest in piss, Robert Mueller. We'll be talking about him. So a demon that died, and on the flip side, we'll be talking about an angel, just briefly, old Chuck Norris. Rest in peace. And then, assuming we have time, which I'm sure we will, we'll finish off with some Fed cyber scamming. Talk a little bit about the current configuration of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Cash App has opened his mouth and revealed some more of his Jeet scamming. So I figured we'd dig a little bit into that. So we have plenty to go through. And as always, we will pop in between the segments. We will stop in to say hello. I try to give everybody at least one good morning. After that, you got to catch my interest or catch my wallet. We are monetized here. You can draw super chats. So yeah, just saying. And then I also do timestamp this too after the show. So if you do want to avoid the chat banter, I keep that towards the end of every segment, so that way you can skip it and just move on to the next one. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into let's get into the first story of the day. A little bit of an update on one of our icebreaker stories from last week. Although I think this is the rare occasion on this morning show that the icebreaker story has taken on a full named segment, the icebreaker content. So we talked about the Afroman trial last week. So I do have an update for you guys. Afroman won his trial, and as a result, he now controls all the production of spice in the Imperium. So the spice will flow, and we are being ruled by a good and gracious leader. The Moshiach has arrived. Actually, it's not the Moshiach. The Muad'Dib. I'm mixing up my messianic figures, the Quetzalcoatl or whatever the hell it's called in Dune. I forget it's the Moshiach. No, not Moshiach. It's God. I'm mixing up all the. No, they call them the Muad'Dib. That's what the people on Dune call them. And then the Jenny Bezeret, the sisterhood, the witch wizard. What do they call them? The quiz. I always call it the Quiznos heart attack, but it's a Quizats. I can't even say it right now because I just say Quiznos heart attack. I've read all the books and I still like a retard just call it the Quiznos heart attack. Whatever, you guys get what I'm saying. Muad'Dib has arrived. He who has been foretold has arrived, and we will now lead a great jihad across the world. Here's a fun little video, just kind of reveling in the win of Aframan. This is a win for all of us, really. Awesome. I love that video. Anything that incorporates Dune and anything awesome. So big ups at Tupacabra on Twitter. All right, let's get into the next goofy story. Apparently, a little bit of fun one. Someone referred to Dan Bongino as a pedophile protector to its face. So let's watch this clip. It's my first time watching it, so I don't know. Is this guy being obnoxious? Even if he is being obnoxious, fuck Bongino. So good. All right, let's watch this.
You're a pedophile protector. A pedophile protector. Pedophile protector. I was a cop for 9 years. You're a pedophile protector, faggot. You're a pedophile protector. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you.
Okay, tells him, what'd you do as a cop for 9 years? Obviously, I don't buy into that mindset. They're like, heard her, what did I do? Like, why don't you go run for Congress then? Or like, yeah, and just be part of the problem? No. So I don't really buy that logic, but it is funny. Whatever. I hope this is Dan Bongino's continued existence. I hope every day he looks over at his nightstand, thinks about the gun in the drawer, and just sits there and longs for it and just goes, should I? That's what I wish for Dan Bongino. I guess he could do a crazy heel turn, go full hero, but I think it's too far gone for that man. I just hope continued existence of absolute misery. Moving on, last story. This is a little bit of a fun one. This is a local story for me. A guy running for Florida governor. Who I've seen him kind of pop up occasionally here and there. I don't really know. I've barely pay attention. I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna vote for the governor of Florida. Don't fucking care. I mean, sure, I can admit there are preferable options, but I'm not gonna waste my loosh on these fucking losers. But either way, this has come to my attention. A certain little, what do we call this? A slip up, a display of retardation by one of the people running for governor. I think he's recently kind of made a big name for himself. It's this James Fishback guy. If you guys in the chat know much about him, sound off. I think he's kind of been a little bit successful in the meme warfare games, kind of got a little bit of a name for himself. I think he had some weird drama shit with Christina Putshaw, which is DeSantis' right-hand broad recently. I don't know what this guy is, his whole deal is, particularly. I think he's coming from the Republican side of things. Not 100% sure, to be completely honest. Just how little I pay attention or little care. I just know he kind of has a little bit of a reputation of kind of being hip with it, if that makes sense. You're kind of understanding the moment a little bit, sort of, if that makes sense. I don't know. But this is I think he just fumbled the whole fucking bag right here. This is next level retarded. Even if we were to assume this guy was some sort of lefty progressive or something, which I don't think he is. I'm pretty sure I think he came from the right. I think that's part of why that whole Christine Putshaw thing. I think they used to somehow be politically aligned in some way. Whatever. I don't care about all this gay little drama pageantry that these homos play. But either way, I'm just pointing out how retarded these people are. Here's him saying you shouldn't have to pay your lawyer if he loses. So, I don't know. Let's watch this together.
It shouldn't be controversial to say this, but if you hire a lawyer to win you a case and he loses, loses you a case, you don't pay him. If you go to a restaurant and ask for chicken and they give you shrimp, you don't pay them. If you're a business owner and you ask a contractor to fill the potholes in your parking lot and he doesn't, you don't pay him. The problem with government, whether at the federal or even at the state level, is we give billions of dollars out to contractors who never do a good job or never do it on time. If elected to be the 47th governor of a state that my family has known for 4 generations, I make a solemn promise to the sacred taxpayers of my state that if folks do not deliver on their government contracts, they will not get paid a penny. The only way we can rebuild our infrastructure, we can actually deliver a state that works for everybody, especially in our rural communities, it's if we make it clear that contractors will not get paid until the job is done.
Okay. Now, I will say, like, I really feel like the big fumble here is the first thing, because I kind of almost get sort of what he's driving at, sort of. I mean, I don't know specifically if there's like some example he's thinking of, but like he uses, like he even says in this tweet, the 2 examples. The first example he led off with in the clip was the lawyer. If a lawyer loses your case, don't pay them, which there are some that do that. I think it's like essentially the personal injury type people that you'll get they only get money if you win or whatever, but I think it's because it's like a percentage or something. But you're in a different realm if you're talking about like criminal justice or something. That would I just don't even understand how that would be, how you could have a comprehensible legal system, I guess, if that worked that way. But either way, then he goes, order chicken, get shrimp, don't pay them. Okay, that's a different thing. Entirely different. Now, if I get accused of a crime and I go to court and I get a lawyer, like to some degree, especially like say I did it, I know that the chances are pretty slim, but I still got to pay. I mean, this guy's giving me labor, so it's like I'm paying for a chance to get off. I don't think you get to make it so it's a different thing than saying like, because you're not ordering a win, you're ordering someone to give you the best defense possible. Is what you're doing when you're getting a lawyer in that situation. It's a little bit of a different situation than being like, well, I ordered the shrimp, god damn it. I think it's a little bit of a different situation. So now, like I said, if you get rid of the lawyer thing, this becomes a little bit more of an understanding little rant, although I still don't get what he's getting at. He's talking about government contractors, which I guess, to be fair, government contractors do suck balls. I will give them that. Big time balls. Huge, big balls they suck. So I can understand the frustration. So now, including that with a lawyer, though, I guess sometimes the government contractors are lawyers. I guess it depends on what we're talking about. I mean, maybe we're missing some context here. But yeah, I know, a weird hill to die on, this seems like to me. Especially we don't even really get what the main drive of the issue is here. It's funny, they not super chatted him, but you guys can super chat if you'd like. I meant to say community noted him. They community noted him here on Twitter. The community note being, lawyers are generally paid regardless of case outcome, unless a contingency fee agreement is in place. Fishbacks was not. He owes $150,000 in unpaid fees after losing his case. Oh, so he actually lost a case. I did not realize that. So that's kind of what he's getting at, is sort of a little bit of a personal grievance is what it sounds like. Weird. Okay, so I guess he owes about over $150,000 for some case. Maybe we should look into this a second. I thought it was funny that someone says, what? Paying your lawyers is part of a contract. Payment is not contingent on whether you lose or win the case. You should never enter public office. This is just some random on Twitter, Matt Nuclear, who tweeted that. Well, I guess not random. He's got like 35,000 views. I guess he's been interviewed by Shapiro, Kirk, and Liz Wheeler. So who knows? He probably sucks. But whatever. Either way, good reply. And then the reason I'm reading this, I just want to show he doubled down. And here's James Fishback. He goes, they breached the contract by losing. And then it gets community noted again. It says Florida rules prohibit lawyers from guaranteeing or implying a guarantee of success in representing a client, so no valid contract can be breached merely by losing a case. And to which I added my 2 cents, and this is what I had to say.
Don't want to sound like a dick or nothing, but it says on your chart that you're fucked up. You talk like a fag, and your shit's all retarded. What I do is just like you know what I mean? Like,
No, I'm serious here.
Don't worry, Scro. Now there are plenty of tards out there living really kick-ass lives. My first wife was tarded. She's a pilot now.
I need for you to be serious for a second here, okay? I need help.
All right, a little bit of a little clip from Idiocracy. I think it's short enough. Hopefully they don't ding me in the old copyright police. Let me see if we can't find let's find a little bit of this case he supposedly went through. I want to learn a little bit more about this real quick. Then we'll move on. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Okay. Florida's gubernatorial candidate James Fishback's own lawyers dump him over unpaid $150,000 bill. Okay, shit. So this is what he's referring to, I guess. All right, this is not looking good. This is from 3 days ago, too, so it's pretty recent. It says Florida gubernatorial candidate James Fishback has been dumped by his own lawyers who accused him of racking up more than $150,000 in unpaid bills from his long-running legal spat with hedge fund titan David Einhorn, the Post has learned. So some sort of legal spat with a hedge fund. So he went toe-to-toe with some big hedge fund and racked up $150,000 in unpaid bills. Court filings show the 31-year-old Republican who has spouted conspiracy theories about Jewish people on the campaign trail. Yeah, that's what he's kind of been known for. I wasn't 100% sure. I knew they say conspiracy theories. To be fair, the little bits I've seen here and there is he's just speaking truth. So he seems to be one of the few politicians that seems to be open to say certain things these days. So that's a positive, but it still doesn't, I think, allow you to be retarded. Moving on, said he has failed to cough up the cash for nearly 4 months after he was sued by his former employer, Einhorn's Green Light Capital. He's set to face off against Representative Byron Donalds in the GOP primary this August to succeed outgoing Governor Ron DeSantis. Man, if I cared about politics... I will say, while this guy is retarded, I'll give him he's better than Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds is a complete and utter Zog slave. Attorneys for Abrams Fensterman LLP told a Manhattan federal judge on March 12th they wanted to quit representing Fishback because the candidate had racked up $150,000 in unpaid fees. Most of this balance has been outstanding for more than 120 days, Fishback's lawyer Justin T. Kelton wrote. He added that Fishback has informed the firm he is unable to pay the outstanding and overdue balance, and he will not be able to pay the fees that may be incurred for any future work that may be required going forward. So yeah, I can't pay you, and I'm not going to pay you. As for Comment Friday, Fishback told the Post, I owe my mom $20.67 for Chipotle last night. She's the only one I'll be paying back. Jesus Christ. Greenlight Capital sued Fishback for allegedly failing to repay two promissory notes worth $300,000 the firms extended to him during his tenure there from 2021 to 2023. Okay, so they gave him $300,000, the capital. Okay, weird. Wall Street firms sometimes lend cash to staff as a perk, which can be used to help buy a house, cover moving costs, or smooth out taxes on a big bonus. Well, that's kind of cool, actually. Obviously, that means that you're probably more indebted to your company as opposed to your your bank, but this is oh no, looks like Fishback took some money and they expected something for it. Who would have fucking thought? A Manhattan federal judge granted Greenlight full summary judgment in March 2025, ordering Fishback to pay about $229,000 plus interest. Okay, so he was forced to pay this back. Man, this is kind of long. Should I stick with? Yeah, let's stick with it. We're almost done. Latest legal developments come just a week after a separate arbitration case Fishback filed against Greenlight was tossed out completely because they failed to show up. Fishback is clearly a con artist, said U.S. Representative Randy Fine, a Florida Republican. Right now, he's grifting off those he has suckered into supporting his campaign. Man, it is a tragic day when we're making Randy Fine look like a truthful, upstanding citizen. So I don't know, maybe he's lying. I mean, just looking at face value a little bit, I know it doesn't look good for Fishback so far. Fishback has built up a niche following on social media with a string of anti-Semitic remarks and calling Donald, who is black, a DEI candidate. All right, that's pretty based. Pretty sure Fishback is Jew, to be clear. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, he looks Jewy. He claimed that Americans shouldn't die for Israel after the start of the Iran war. Hey, he's selling me on him again. At a rally at the University of Central Florida in early February, he branded the college's cafeteria food as goy slob. Man, this guy's cool. I keep waffling back and forth on him, alluding to an alt-right conspiracy theory that unhealthy food is a Jewish plot against non-Jews. Fishback got attention last year by falsely telling media outlets he was working closely on cost-cutting with the Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah, I vaguely recall that he just completely made that up, that he was supposedly going to go help Doge. But, I mean, I guess dodged a bullet. It previously told the Post that he came up with the idea to provide Doge dividend checks to ordinary Americans as a result of savings made by the now defunct department. Alex Brucewitz, a media advisor to President Trump, blasted Fishback last November as a pathological liar, calling his claims to be involved with the project a complete fabrication. Former Doge spokeswoman also denied that he had any involvement. Greenlight Capital sued Fishback in 2024, alleging that he falsely claimed to be the firm's head of macro and misstated his investment performance by reaping $100 million in profits to attract investors to his new venture, Azoria Partners. Their lawsuit also alleged Fishback was a poor performer, consistently failed to meet expectations, and was set to be fired for low productivity before resigning. So you know what he turned to? Turned to politics. Totally makes sense. Ferb also accused a junior money man of violating his employment agreement by sharing confidential portfolio data to help start Azoria. But that venture saw its two flagship exchange-traded funds liquidated by independent trustees in December 2025 amid limited investor interest and ongoing litigation involving the firm's principal. Fishback has also came under scrutiny for a relationship with a 17-year-old high school student. You can't be doing that. In 2022, the Broward County School District in Florida cut its ties with the debate league Fishback founded after learning of his relationship with the young student who participated in the program. I mean, this is 2022. This is 4 years ago. I mean, how old is Fishback? I'm going to guess he's probably in his 30s. Not looking good. Fishback has said the relationship began after she turned 18. Okay, all right, a little bit better. The pair later lived together and became engaged. Last year, the woman who had worked for the league saw a protective injunction alleging stalking and domestic violence. Okay, now not as good. Fishback defeated the petition in court, denied allegations, and never faced criminal charges. Congressman Donalds has emerged as a clear frontrunner in the GOP election scheduled for August and is heavily buoyed by his name recognition and Trump's endorsement. Still, many voters are undecided. Donalds has backing from 44% of likely GOP primary voters compared to Fishback's 5%, leaving 45% undecided, according to a recent poll from American Promise. A survey from the University of North Florida has Fishback, who has suggested slapping a sin tax on Florida's OnlyFans creators. Okay, I remember that. That was actually funny. He had a back and forth between I think Sophie Raines or some major OnlyFans person. He had a fun back and forth. They're basically being like, "We're gonna tax you more." And I think she did some sort of "Oh my god, I can't believe this," and he's kind of did the old "good, fuck you." So, anyways, this is ahead of Donald's. A survey from the University of North Florida has Fishback ahead of Donald's among GOP voters aged 18-34 by 32% to Donald's 8%. So looks like the party very strongly in support of Donald's and the people very strongly in support of Fishback. But man, this is a state of the non-goy slaves, at least the non-explicit goy slaves. So these could be a whole other level of goy slaves, to where they're just literally the jesters, discrediting it. But I don't know if Fishback's that. He may just be a fucking scummy retard, or maybe the media's lying on him. Maybe the media's lying. I'm open to it. But the little bits I've seen here and there, he does give me strong high levels of deception vibes as I get for this guy. Very, very much a grifter is the vibe I get so far. So I don't know. Interested to see what you guys think in the chat. Is this guy a grifter? Is he a piece of shit? Is he a retard? Is this the best we can do for those who get off the goy plantation? What do you think? All right, let's roll the chat, say some good mornings, and then we'll get into our foreign policy portion of the show. A first segment of the day. World War over? But yeah, let's roll through chat. Say some good mornings. Good morning, Honda Rider. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, OG Matzo Balls. By the way, Honda said they were so ready for a dump. OG said they couldn't. Don't know if they can hold it. Well, I hope you held it in. Hope you held it in. Good morning, Daz. Saying we're all touching cloth here, Jose. Good morning, King David. Remind you all to hit that like button. Please do. Help a brother out. Good morning, Big Hands. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, DM for the morning flump. Good morning, Scott. Saying good morning, bro. Good morning, John Black, you beautiful bastard. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Charles Adams. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Jorge Glockington. Ooh, Charles mentioned psychopaths can't self-reflect. I don't know if where that's coming from, but there is a clip that I do have saved. I almost had it today, and I kind of wish I had included it. Maybe I'll look for it for the last segment at some point. But yeah, yes, they are incapable of self-reflecting, and there's a good little clip about that out there where Professor Eggman is reflecting on how he doesn't bother him that he's evil because he doesn't think about deep thoughts. He doesn't think about inside thoughts. He just do the thing, and that's it. Moving on. Yeah, see, Charles, he's immediate, same thing. His Judar comes right on. Sounds like an early life check is in order. Fishback. Exactly. Good morning, Gut Bug Fights. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Tom. 3-3. Good morning, JC. Good morning. Good morning, you beautiful bastard. See, Charles, yeah, looked up in Wikipedia. It says Fishback holds white supremacist and anti-Semitic views. Says uncomfortable truths. Got it. Yep, exactly. Good morning, retardo. Good morning, good morning. Charles says, imagine you took your car to the mechanic and they didn't fix it right but want to be paid for their time. Yeah, I mean, a different thing once again. I mean, it's obviously it's a different scenario. I mean, obviously, I'm sure whenever you buy, I mean, I haven't ever actually used a lawyer, but I assume when you get a lawyer, you probably fill out some sort of contract, so it's probably in the fine print there. I mean, it'd be one thing if this guy Fishback, he literally paid his lawyers, and in the contract it said if you don't get paid, or if you don't win, we don't get paid, or whatever. Then sure. I mean, that is I don't think they're allowed to do that in most cases, depending on what it is. I think it's different if you're going to win an amount of money. They can get a percentage or something, I think is my understanding. But a little bit different. If you go to the mechanic and you go and you want to fix it, and even then there's a little bit of a wiggle room to that, because sometimes I might be like, hey, I got to do some troubleshooting, and they may not know what's going to be wrong with it. So even then there's a little bit of gray area there. So it's almost like an unsaid thing. They might be like, hey, I got to troubleshoot it, and you will actually have to pay them for their time. Even if they don't fix it. But now if they don't fix it right, yeah, I get it. I get what you mean. I get what you mean. But yeah, it definitely is not a one-for-one there. Yeah, if you go to a mechanic, though, and they fuck up your car, you would expect some sort of money back or them to fix their mistake or something. Sure. A little bit different situation than a lawyer. Let me see. Who else we got? See all y'all on here. Good morning. Hey, say what now? Good morning. Good morning. OG's pointing out most of the negative press sounds like he just pissed off Jews and now they're coming at him when it comes to fit. Yeah, that is sort of the bulk of it, but unfortunately, the little bit that I've paid attention from the periphery of the Fishback nonsense, unfortunately, it does seem like there's some hefty grains of truth to a lot of the shit that they're upset about. So it's probably 95%, gay Jewish molding. And then 5% they've got a fucking point. But they, of course, do not hone in on the good shit. They hone in on the dumb shit. Oh my God, he says that fucking unhealthy food is goy slop. And you're like, well, it is. Are you trying to sell it to me? Or maybe you should focus on some of the scummy shit he actually did. Good morning, Marty McFly. Asking who the kitty was. The kitty of the day was Marvin Airy Melvin, our little black and white kitty. I hope you guys enjoyed him. Good morning, aggressively agreeing. Says if there's anyone who could be accused of anti-Semitism and acting like a Jew all in one, it's this guy. Yeah. Good morning, Rabadi Sahi. That is a fun name. Dope. Another Honda head in the chat, he said. John Black says, water is a feline right. Feed Jeff. No ads on TMD. Well, give a big thank you to John Black. There will be no ads on the morning dump tomorrow. And I don't think there's any ads right now. I totally forgot to put it to monetize this morning. So I got to select to put the ads on, and I forgot. But whatever, you guys get a twofer. And John Black gave some money and specifically requested. That is a perk. If you guys super chat and you specifically request no ads on the next show, I will not put ads on the next show. So appreciate it. Tom33 says, I've seen plenty of lawyers advertising they won't charge you if they lose. I think that's like for civil stuff when it's like there's a amount that you're going to win or whatever. They'll get like a percentage. But even then, I think it's like an agreed upon thing beforehand. So, I mean, maybe there's something that we're missing here. Maybe there is this, the Jays are playing tricks and there's deceptive stuff going on here and he actually shouldn't have paid his lawyers. Maybe he was for some reason under the understanding that that was the deal there. Hey, Tyler, if you're in the chat, maybe you'd know better if that's like given that specific legal situation, if that makes sense. I don't know, maybe something for you to look into for a little side story. But with that, guys, let's get into foreign policy. Let's get into the world at war. I was out for TMD last week, Thursday and Friday, so I do have a little bit of catching up to do. So that's why this is going to be a little bit of a longer foreign policy segment today. But just warn you. And we're going to kind of work towards the most up-to-date stuff. So looking back at a piece from the 18th, so this is from like last Wednesday, Iran strikes world's largest natural gas field in Iran. So Israel hit a gas field in Iran, and everyone's buttholes puckered up. The largest natural gas field. So that was a thing Israel did. Trump came out shortly after, kind of like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Let me see. Let me see if that's Trump's between Iran and Qatar. On Wednesday, strikes hit facilities in Iran's Bushehr province tied to the gas field. Following the attack, Israeli officials told Axios the operation was conducted in coordination and with the approval of the White House. So we've got kind of behind the scenes murmurs that this was a agreed upon thing. A source speaking with the AP claimed the White House was aware Tel Aviv planned to strike the gas field. The U.S. did not participate with it or give its approval. So we got conflicting reports. According to Iranian media, strike sparked a fire that emergency crews are working to extinguish. These centers have become direct and legitimate targets and will be targeted in the coming... Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a sentence. Iranian military said it will respond to the attack by striking energy facilities in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. These centers have become direct and legitimate targets and will be targeted in the coming hours. Therefore, all citizens, residents, and employees are requested to immediately leave these areas and move to a safe distance without delay. Iran's IRGC explained in a statement. Tehran's threat caused a spike in global oil prices, with Brent crude up 5%. While the White House has avoided targeting Iranian energy sites in previous operations, Israel bombed oil facilities near Tehran earlier this month. Axios reported those strikes angered Washington. The White House may have sought to avoid strikes on Iranian energy facilities because Tehran is likely to respond by attacking oil infrastructure in Gulf Arab countries allied with the U.S. Now, it's not including this one because it must have been after he reported on it, but Trump did come out shortly after that, put out a Truth Social kind of like, oh, we didn't have anything to do with that, and that's not cool, and yada, 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 like kind of trying to diffuse it. He kind of had a little bit of stern words sort of for Israel, like Israel's not going to do that anymore. I think there was like a little bit of a backhanded threat, be like, because I think actually, I don't know if it mentioned in here, I think there was an attack on Qatar around this time too, like shortly after or something too. It's because they did mention this article they were going to be striking Saudi, Qatar, and the UAE. I think there was a Qatar strike shortly after that, and then that's I think when Trump was like, whoa, we had nothing to do with that. That's not fair. You can't be targeting Qatar. Yada yada, like essentially being like, oh, we had nothing to do with it. Qatar had nothing to do with it. You can't just be bombing Qatar. So it kind of simmered after that. But obviously, like we just read in there's conflicting reports about to what degree the U.S. had a hand in that. Amidst all this, we have Trump equating or using comparing the first strikes in Iran to Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor. That's right. The thing that we did, that he's comparing to, like, I don't know, one of the most, like, renowned acts of duplicitous, like, sneak attack, dishonorable, yada, yada, that's ever occurred in, U.S. history. Like, that's usually how it's, you got, like, Pearl Harbor in, like, the mind, the zeitgeist of the common American. You have, like, Cornwallis, if you're looking at, like, I mean, you got a limited, there's only like a handful of things that come to mind when you think of duplicity, sneak attacks, just dishonor. Like, those are things that you might conjure. You might conjure up Pearl Harbor, like I said, maybe Cornwallis. Right? I got that right. Cornwallis is a guy in the Revolutionary War that betrayed him, right? Am I mixing up people? Those are the only two that really come to mind is like these like huge, I mean, I'm sure maybe some other come to mind if I think about it. But that's like kind of the one. I mean, that's the one that got us into World War II, kind of led that all off. Obviously, I know this is the childlike understanding of history. I get that. But a little bit wild considering as most people operate in the childlike understanding of history. So then to use that as like, oh, this is like, I mean, hell, even if you didn't have a childlike understanding of history, weird move to equate your attack that you did to Pearl Harbor. I really don't know what the positive spin is there. He said he couldn't alert allies to strikes because he might have lost the element of surprise that allowed the military to knock out much more of Iran's defenses than anticipated. So he compared the initial strikes on Iran while seated next to Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takahashi in the Oval Office to the Japanese attack on the U.S. Navy in Pearl Harbor, which triggered American entry into World War II. So gets even worse. He was sitting next to the Prime Minister of Japan. Here's what he said. It says, "We didn't tell anyone about it because we wanted a surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan?" Trump said to laughter. "Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?" Okay, I'll grant him funny, but more funny in the sense that it's absurd. And what the fuck? You shouldn't be saying that, dude. It says Takachi's eyes widened and her smile disappeared as she leaned back and drew her hands in at the mention of Pearl Harbor. So, yeah, holy shit. She looks like some sort of weird Japanese demon. Look at her. That is an insane looking woman. Yes, that's stuff going on in the world. It gets worse. We'll get to more. Department of War seeks $200 billion more to fund the Iran war. So, $200 billion. Bear in mind, they just recently requested, they actually got their $1 trillion a year budget for the Department of War. So that's for the whole year, $1 trillion. And now and that was like mind blowing that they got that, which by the way, they're already like essentially in the works of asking for $1.5 trillion and bragging about it like it's awesome. Like, oh, we're going to get 1.5 next year. Anyways, that aside, so just to put that in a frame of reference, you get $1 million a year for the Department of War. So $200 billion, or did I say $1 trillion? Yeah, $1 trillion, and then you have $200 billion the Department of War is asking. So just in the past few weeks, their adventurism in Iran has cost a fifth of the yearly amount, which is already an insane amount. So great stuff. So that's what we're requesting. I mean, this is stuff they're going to have to go through Congress for. So I mean, we'll see. This could end up being some long, protracted political battle. We'll be interested to see how this plays out. Let's listen a little bit from this ghoul, Hegseth, see what he has to say.
Both what happened with Midnight Hammer and what happened with that as well. As far as $200 billion, I think that number could move, obviously. It takes money to kill bad guys. So we're going back to Congress and our folks there to ensure that we're properly funded for what's been done, for what we may have to do in the future, ensure that our ammunition everything's refilled, and not just refilled, but above and beyond. I mean, President Trump, as he said, rebuilt the military in his first term. Didn't think he'd use it as dynamically in his second, but he had. So thank goodness he did that. And an investment like this is meant to say, hey, we'll replace anything that was spent. And now that we're reviving our defense industrial base and rebuilding the arsenal of freedom and cutting deals like our great deputy secretary here is doing, long lead times on exquisite munitions, we're going to be refilled faster than anyone imagined. And I think, we're also still dealing with the environment that Joe Biden created, which was depleting those stockholds.
It's fucking Joe Biden. It's fucking Joe Biden, goddamn it.
And not sending them to our own military, but to Ukraine. Which is every time we reach back and look at any sort of a challenge we have, it goes back to, well, send it to Ukraine. Ultimately, we think this should be these munitions are better spent in our own interests at this point, and this kind of funding bill is going to ensure that we're proper.
You really cannot. You just cannot. I mean, it's laughable already to go like Herder Biden, but like then to add the additional thing of like Herder Biden because he was sending shit to Ukraine, like I don't remember. Was it when did we start sending shit to Ukraine? I mean, I forget specifically. I want to say there was a window during the first Trump administration, but even that aside, now in this current one, he's given plenty. I think they I forget what the current situation is so far as money to Ukraine is, but and arms, but we still do. But now it's always in this. I think we're in this weird quasi. Oh, well, it's a business deal sort of word, but it's not. It's probably not. I bet money it's not. I know they've kind of done this weird because they came in on this like weird vibe like Doge, we're gonna cut money, and Herder, we're sort of like libertarians. Meanwhile, like it's gone the complete utter opposite way. So they came on those vibes. So I don't know. I forgot. I lost my whole thread of where I was going with that, but. I mean, just astounding amount of money that we're spending here. I remember where blame it on Biden and then blaming it on furthermore because they're sending shit to Ukraine, which, I mean, like I said, the Trump administration's kind of made a little bit of strained efforts, it seems like, to at least give the perception of being less of a welfare type situation as opposed to a business deal. But let's be real. So it's just laughable to go, this is Biden's fault. And then you're like, well, how is it Biden's fault? Because he was sending stuff to Ukraine. Okay. You're not a serious fucking person. Moving on, I think most people in the United States seem to have that same perspective on it. Apparently, we got some polls. Apparently, Americans believe Trump will be sending troops into Iran and don't like the idea. A Reuters post found. So March 19th is when this was done. So a few days ago. These things matter because things have changed a little bit. Some 65% of Americans believe U.S. President Donald Trump will order troops into a large-scale ground war in Iran, but only 7% support the idea, according to a Reuters Ipsos poll that closed on Thursday. So only 7% support a large-scale ground war, which is like kind of what a lot of people have been saying that like it's kind of where they're at. There's not really anything else they can do other than diplomacy. The 3-day poll showed Trump's broader standing with the public holding largely unchanged at 40%, up 1 percentage point from a Reuters Ipsos poll carried out in the hours after the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran on February 28th. The poll, which gathered respondents from 1,545 U.S. adults nationwide, had a margin of error of about 3 percentage points. So yeah, it's looking like they're not digging it, but you will see out there. I will go ahead and warn you: be careful waiting out there in that information space out there in the wide world. I have seen lots of MAGA ball lickers go. Have you seen the polls? Apparently, 100% of MAGA supports what Trump is doing, whatever the given situation is. When anytime you see 100% of anybody, you should immediately go, wait, whoa, what's going on here? But bear in mind, MAGA has now been defined as whatever Trump says it the fuck is. So I'm not even kidding. I've seen lots of people running with this. I think it was even like a CNN thing. Maybe it was like a joke or something, but there literally is like a CNN clip where they're like evaluating the polls, or maybe it was CNN or some other one. And a lot of MAGA people are running with that. I'm like, oh wow, look how much MAGA's loving Trump. And you're like, well, yes, if you're defining MAGA as only those who like what Trump is doing, you're gonna get pretty high favorability rates there. And then moving on, actually not even really moving on. It's still in the poll realm. Now this is a poll from the IMEU Policy Project Demand Progress that was released on Thursday. Found that 56% of voters said the war benefits Israel more. Only 29% said the conflict benefited the U.S. more. So majority of Americans are currently thinking this is basically a war for Israel. So I don't think they're fooling much of anybody here. Moving on in the escalation trap that we are in. This is from yesterday. It says the Iranian military has warned that if the U.S. or Israel bomb Iran's power plants or other energy infrastructure, it will completely close the Strait of Hormuz and target similar infrastructure in Israel and regional countries hosting U.S. bases. Lieutenant Colonel Ebrahim Zulfikari, spokesman for Iran's Qatam al-Anbaya Central Headquarters, issued the warning in response to President Trump's threat to destroy Iran's power plants if Iran didn't fully open the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours. Here is the Truth Social heard around the world, which is one of the most recent escalations here. Very concerning over the weekend. It says if Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first, Trump said on Truth Social in a post published at 7:44 p.m. on Saturday night. Zulfikari said that Iran has repeatedly declared the Strait of Hormuz is closed only to the enemy, and harmful passage has not yet been closed completely and is under our smart control. He added that non-harmful transit continues under specific regulations which guarantee our security interests. But if Trump follows through on his threat, Zulfikari said no ships will be allowed to transit the strait and that it will remain closed until Iran's energy infrastructure is rebuilt. He said that Iran would also hit back and was prepared to completely destroy all the U.S. economic interests in the West Asia region. Zulfikari also suggested that Iran would target oil infrastructure in response as well. Nothing can prevent us from proceeding with our operation to demolish energy and oil infrastructure and industry of the U.S. and its allies in the region. So a lot of people freaked out over this weekend because we have on Saturday night, we have Trump issuing this huge threat, which he's been kind of, I mean, I say a big deal, but everyone's kind of slowly just zoning him out, you know, just kind of like, this is what Trump's been doing every day, multiple times a day, it seems. If you don't do this, crazy big bad things are going to happen, and then sometimes maybe something will happen, but Iran's generally not concerned. But this one was pretty wild, another escalating into civil infrastructure realm, which is kind of what we've been slowly descending into, and this is where things get really rough. Keep in mind, too, this is all happening over the weekend for those who understand the money markets. They close on Friday, open up on Monday, so you have on Saturday, 48 hours. That's till Monday. So, a little bit of hoping maybe to, shake some things up, maybe reopen the markets, instill some positivity in the market at the very least. Just some thoughts. At the same time, too, the Trump administration is giving waivers to permit Iranian oil sales for 3 days. So what a bizarre world we're in right now. As we're dealing with this, they are allowing the purchase of Iranian oil to ease the economic situation. So the war that they started, Iran's benefiting big time of this war. We've talked about how they've been pushing out more oil than ever. And during this time of an economic boom for them, we're, with the war we started and we're helping them even more. But apparently we're by issuing a waiver for the sanctions. So confusing. Today, the Department of Treasury is issuing a narrowly tailored short-term authorization permitting the sale of Iranian oil currently stranded at sea. Like, that's the weird thing they're hedging at, that's stranded at sea, whatever that means. So any oil that's currently at sea is the thing, which, whatever. Almost like the oil that's already here. I think that the being at sea has something to do with, like, I don't know. There's something specific about the fact that it's already at sea that somehow dampens the economic boom or something. I forget. But either way, look a little bit of weird, a little confusing stance. And as we're dealing with this, we got Lindsey Graham. We've talked a little bit on the show that they've been kind of pushing around this idea of some sort of ground invasion, particularly on Karg Island, which is kind of like a strategic location that everyone's kind of eyeing, and but at the same time knowing this would be some sort of Normandy type event, likely, because pretty well, it's not really, it's a well-defended area, essentially, and it's kind of trying to take that thing as basically a suicide mission. But we have Lindsey Graham seemingly not giving a shit about that. Let's see what Lindsey had to say. He's comparing it to some of the worst battles in World War II and be like, hey, We can do it, guys.
Program has been obliterated, and they're running out of money. So here's what I tell President Trump. Keep it up for a few more weeks. Take Carg Island, where all of the resources they have to produce oil. Control that island. Let this regime die on a vine.
Is this going to, though, take Carg Island? Is it going to involve U.S. troops on the ground? Let me just read you something from The Atlantic. Does an assessment on that. They say U.S. troops may well take Carg Island. We believe their ability to do so, but only to endure ballistic missile strikes, drone attacks, petrochemical smoke, all without a reliable means of obtaining logistical support. The result could be a grinding war of attrition. They talk about how far away they would be from resupply.
I'm sort of tired of all this armchair quarterbacking. This has been an amazing military operation. God bless the fallen.
What a hilarious inversion of armchair quarterbacking. Like, I hear all this armchair quarterbacking saying we're all going to get fucking slaughtered if we go in. I say just do it. I say just do it. It's like, what a weird way to look at it. Like, you would think like the Graham in this situation would be the armchair quarterback. Like, oh, fuck it. Why didn't that quarterback just throw for an 80-yard pass to his receiver? What is he even doing here? Like that is the armchair quarterbacking. Like, not the like, oh, we're gonna get slaughtered if we run that move. I don't know, which I guess kind of they both are, but I mean, in a certain sense, but it's still bizarre. Whatever.
It's a difference when we talk about troops on the ground.
I trust the Marines. Not that guy. I trust DOD. We got 2 Marine expeditionary units sailing to this island. We did Iwo Jima. We can do this. The Marines, my money is always on the Marines. I don't know if you take the island or you blockade the island, but I know this. The day we control that island, this regime, this terrorist regime, has been weakened. It will die on a vine. And here's what I want to do. I want to get with Chris. I want to sprint to peace. As the war winds down, I want peace to ramp up. The reason we don't have Saudi Arabia and Israel making peace is October the 7th, 2023. Iran through Hamas attacked Israel, stopping normalization. I want to take up and complete what Biden started. As soon as we get Iran defanged so they can never do another October 7th, I want to start up peace talks between Saudi and Israel this year. I want a peace deal between Saudi and Israel normalizing, ending the Arab-Israeli conflict. It's been going on for 2,000 years this year, and you can't do it with a lethal Iran. So we're weeks away from this Iranian regime not having the capability to stop peace.
Okay, very quickly, though, because
all right, so you have him equating it to Iwo Jima, which not a good one. That was not one that went really well. Little recap here. Battle of Iwo Jima is one of the most brutal battles in World War II, involving U.S. troops and resulted in about 26,000 U.S. casualties, including more than 6,000 deaths. On the Japanese side, more than 18,000 defenders of the island were killed. So, I'm pretty sure they won that one, but was it really a W? Do we really chalk that up to a dub when you take 8K more deaths than the enemy? I don't know. That looks like a tragedy for humanity is what it sounds like to me. But that's hey, we can do it, guys. Woohoo! You did Iwo Jima. You can do this one. Just be willing to die for Iran. For this reason, I guess. I guess Hegseth's going to lay out the reason why I don't know, people like me that joined at one point in time, or many others, or maybe future generations who may, why, what would they want to die for? Because like, I don't know, there's something, there's something beautiful. Like when I joined the military, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there's some aspect of I need money, I need a job, I need this, that, but like, you're young, dumb. I'm like 18, 19 years old. I'm like, herder, I bet you if I go over and shoot Hajis, that somehow makes, people, this country and the people that live in it that I love more free. And then you learn about it and you go, I don't know about all that. So like, there's a little bit of like, hey, you think, so like, what are these people dying for? I mean, like, obviously you learn that's a lie, but there's at least like a straight through lie with like the previous era of like the war on terror. So what is it with Iran? Let's leave it to Pete Hegseth to tell us. And, in this heartfelt moment between him and his child.
My 13-year-old son popped into my office last night while I was editing these remarks. He asked about the war and the families I met at Dover. And I looked at him and I said, they died for you, son, so that your generation doesn't have to deal with a nuclear Iran. It's the truth. And they did. So to the families who said, finish this, we will. And I say the same to every American who wants peace through strength. May Almighty God continue to bless our troops in this fight. And again, to the American people, please pray for them every day, on bended knee, with your family, in your schools, in your churches, in the name of Jesus Christ.
I mean, you could just stop sending them to die to kill other people. I don't know. And while I'm not religious, it is particularly disgusting seeing this being clothed in the visage of Christ. Little disgusting. I don't know. I do have a little bit of a cultural. How do I put this? A cultural. What was it? Liking, I guess, to that sort of thing. So it kind of grosses me out. Feels a little bit like kind of, I don't know, pissing in old America's apple pie a little bit. Feels a little gross. I don't know what you guys think about that. Quick thing, real quick. Charles, you were correct. I knew I was wrong. I knew I fell off. I'm like, why am I going to Benedict Arnold, by the way, guys. That was who I was thinking of earlier. Benedict Arnold, not Cornwallis. I don't know why Cornwallis is who came to mind, but Benedict Arnold, that's who I was thinking of. He was the renowned traitor in the Revolutionary War. Benedict Arnold, not Cornwallis. So, was Cornwallis? No, I'm mixing him up with Custer. I was about to say, wasn't it Cornwallis' last stand? I don't know what the fuck Cornwallis did, but Benedict Arnold, that was the traitor that I was thinking about earlier. Moving on, here's Hegseth again, giving us some more glorious propaganda, just next level irony. So, I don't know. Let's see if you guys pick up on it.
Iran is an energy rich country, could be, should be. Instead, like so many other places driven by radical ideology, they've spent that money instead of investing in their people. And that's why you had millions of Iranians protesting, because they felt like their quality of life didn't match what it could be or should be. And what was the Iranian state? There's a reason we call Iran the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, because they took the money they make and they invest it in tunnels, and they invested in missiles, and they invested in launchers and UAVs, and we are destroying and degrading that in historic proportions. Iran is an energy.
Okay, so if you guys caught that, but he said what is so bad about Iran and why they're evil is because they spend their money on war instead of helping people in need. Unlike America. So that's the issue. So they take all this money and they put it to terror, whereas we put it to freedom fighting, right? That's the difference here. This is the retarded level of propaganda they want you to buy. One more. Actually, I got a couple more. I want to simmer in the propaganda going around because before we get to the big reveal, I'm burying the lead a little bit here. The main title, World War Over? ? I have a pretty big announcement, I guess you could say, from Trump that actually happened within a couple hours before the show. So it's pretty newer, but I did want to simmer in the propaganda that's led to this point up until now before we get there. Just to simmer in it. I think it's important. These are some of the talking heads that go out there and what they're saying. For example, Mark Levin, who has been a oddly integral part of the worldview, it seems, of Trump as of late. Here's him talking with, I don't know, one of those chattering skeletons from They Live or whatever. Maria Bartiromo. So this is them talking about Iran's oil, almost as if this was Venezuela, as if like we had just we got complete and utter domination, and now we're just going to take control of their oil or something. This seems to be the vibes that Levin is residing in. So it seems divorced from reality, but this is the information that's seemingly being seeped into President Trump's mind.
This enemy's defeated, and there's some level of change in the government, pray to God. We would have a lot to say about that oil, wouldn't we? Just like we have a lot to say about the oil in Venezuela, no?
Yeah, we will have a lot of say about that oil for sure. But let's not forget the fact that the United States is an independent oil and gas exporter. And that's also really important to remember, because that's part of this president's agenda, to tap into the capacity of America. And when you're talking about all that oil coming onto the market and all that gas coming into the market, simple supply and demand. oil prices and gas prices will go down and economic activity will go up. So, yes, the United States will, I don't know the strategy specifics in terms of what this president is thinking, but look at what he's done in Venezuela and the fact that now the U.S. is in charge of that oil and allocating it the way it should. It also has enormous leverage that the U.S. gets because don't forget, China was buying 90% of Iran's oil exports. At this point, the leverage that this president has given the United States in terms of what he's done in Venezuela, what he's doing in Iran, that tells the Chinese Communist Party, don't think you are going to bully the world, including the United States, in terms of holding us hostage with these rare earths that the U.S. needs refined rare earth minerals, and they were holding them back. And they were holding back prescription drugs during COVID. So if the Chinese Communist Party wants to play games, well, the U.S. immediately becomes that much more powerful, sending a message to China, if you're wondering who, in fact, has the leverage, think about where your next barrel of oil is coming. And that's what...
Okay, so it sounds like they're sort of fantasizing as if we're somehow going to take control of the Iranian oil, which that's crazy. But also a lot of this in their head is being held up on the idea that they were energy independent, which I'm by no means some economics or natural resources guy where I have these things. But it's my understanding, people do repeat that, yeah, we are energy independent. But you also got to kind of think of the current situation that we're in, that even if we do go energy independent, that requires essentially cutting off the rest of the world and going, we're only servicing ourselves. Now that kind of puts everybody else in a big old fucking pickle, which I guess then we'll go, oh, well, you didn't want to help us with the Strait of Hormuz and yada, yada. Yeah, you mean the shit that we fucking started? So essentially we would start some shit, cause, oil to probably double, triple, quadruple, and then just bounce and then go back over to our side of things and then exist off our own oil, which even then, I don't really know how exactly the economics would shake out. I still have a strong feeling oil would probably be significantly more expensive, just not quite as expensive compared to the rest of the world. But I guess in their idea, somehow we're going to control Iran's oil, and now this makes it so that we're somehow, the big cheese on the block compared to China, because that's what it's kind of a lot of times come back to. Oh, we got big China to worry about. Which, speaking of, here's Dan Bongino kind of clutching his pearls about Joe Kent, which I guess to the China thing, I do want to go ahead and I watched that interview with Joe Kent and Tucker Carlson, and probably the first fucking 20 minutes are, to my whole point, I would say this motherfucker glows and be careful. And I will say, this is awesome. I still think it's a W, what he's doing, and I'm sure maybe it did require heroism. Maybe it's not completely jaded. Maybe it wasn't a completely controlled, contrived situation from the glowies that be. I don't know. But the first 20 minutes of that whole fucking episode with him and Tucker was, if we're her during Iran bad, how can we be her during China bad? Doesn't that make her during China bad that much harder? I mean, we've got to be her during China bad, right? But meanwhile, we're her during Iran bad. Like that's what this is. So this is China hawks being like, come on, get back on fucking message. Like stop getting fucking sucked into this Middle East stuff, which I'm here for. To be very clear, I'm here for. But this is high time preference, low time preference. I'm very here for the idea of not getting embroiled in the Middle East. But I also don't want to get embroiled in whatever economic or quasi-warfare situation they have cooking for China down the road, too. So, yeah, obviously the more immediate thing is what to be concerned about, but doesn't mean I have to be retarded and go, oh, my God, Joe Kent, what a hero. Which, sure, maybe. Okay. Motherfucker's a glowy. I mean, literally just quit his job for counter intel. And he worked for the CIA. What was he, like a Green Beret before that? Like, come on. His name's fucking Kent. It's like they made him in a fucking... like, I mean, they should have just called him Clark. Like, why not at this point? But all right, whatever. Here's Bongino. Just completely... Oh, I can't believe you would say that about Israel. I can't believe you would... Did you realize what you just said about Israel? I can't believe what you... Can you believe what you said? I can't believe what you said. Did you guys hear what he said about Israel? Oh my, I can't believe he said no one cares. No one cares, Dan.
The other option is much darker. I mean, we still don't know what happened in Butler. We don't know what happened with Charlie Kirk. And by no means am I saying like, the Israelis did this or
stop. One, this is particularly disgusting because there's an ongoing trial, and I'm not going to take part in this right now because it would be unethical. However, here we go again, where I'm not saying anything. Did you hear it at the end? This is the hidden knowledge scam. This is the mark of a Times Square watch salesman. You ever go to Times Square back before Rudy Giuliani cleaned it up? Hey, I got a Rolex here, $25. $25 for a Rolex? Yeah, no, it's real. This is disgusting. We live in a republic. There is a trial going on, and you're claiming
there is a trial going on.
You've got some kind of hidden knowledge? Really? Interesting. I got hidden knowledge, but I'm not gonna say it. You know something? I know you're watching right now, and you know you're a liar, and you know exactly what you're doing.
And then, Charlie Kirk is killed publicly in a very horrific way, and we're not really even allowed to look into that at all.
Okay. This is some of the most disgusting, unethical, and immoral stuff I have ever seen. Leveraging the death of my good friend that the whole world watched in all of its horrifying gore for your podcast appearance, you're disgusting. Thank you for your service to the country. You're also disgusting. I wasn't allowed to ask questions, Joe Kent. I'm just going to leave that there, folks. And all you people defending him right now, I'll accept your apology later. You watch. You weren't allowed to ask questions? Sure about that?
He literally said nothing. He's literally just whining like a little bitch. That's all it is. He said nothing. And if you watch the interview, I will say that the Kirk Kent stuff that he was, or the Kirk, the stuff in the Kirk killing that Kent was dropping, I don't know. He did hedge it in like a very, like, I'm not saying anything. I mean, I will get, but he is like, hey, there was stuff we didn't look into. He literally was a guy running an investigation, and what he's trying to express to people is there were leads that we weren't able to search down. And then I go, oh, you just asking questions. Yes, because he was the one part of leading a fucking investigation. And like, so him saying our investigation got shut down and there were certain leads that we weren't able to look into that we wanted to, that there were, routes unexplored that should have been, that doesn't, I like, it's just a ridiculous, like, way to be like, oh, what are you trying to say something here? Are you trying to say something here? What he's saying is that he wasn't able to look into it. And he even, very clear in the interview over and over again is like, obviously, I don't know if I had been able to look into those leads, what would have come out of them, but I should have been able to look into them. And that's all there is. And I think it's significant that we at least mention that. And that's nothing. It's something in the sense that, like, that's weird they shut down that investigation. I mean, I don't really know enough. Maybe that's more normal than I think, but it sounds pretty weird to me. So, but yeah, very bizarre to this pearl clutching thing. But all right, whatever. I want to talk a little bit about the people that the propaganda surrounding Donald Trump before we got into the big news. Because I don't know, I just think something about it. After all that, all the full court press of these people, some of the ridiculous things they've said in the past like week or so. And then we get a taco Trump. Although, is it a taco Trump? It may not be a taco. That may not be taco meat in there. That may be literal shit, which we will get to in a moment. But this was at, I don't know exactly what time. This was dropped, 7 a.m.-ish, give or take, this morning. So kind of early this morning. Donald Trump says, I am pleased to report. And keep in mind, this is after the whole 48-hour threat and everybody like, oh my God, like, how do we come back from this? Like, I mean, we read it. I read it to you guys. There was really not really like an out there. I mean, there was kind of like the way it was written. It was like, Iran needs to do what the fuck I say, or I'm going to fuck their shit up. They did not do what the fuck he said. So you would think it should be like, I'm going to fuck your shit up. I mean, obviously I don't want him to fuck his shit up. But now it looks like we're getting the taco Trump. So a little confusing. I guess I'm glad. I mean, obviously, I'm glad he's reducing his rhetoric, but whatever. Here's what he said. He says, I'm pleased, not pleased, first off. I guess little side commentary here. As I'm going through this, like, just think about, like, this sounds like, somebody else, like, I don't know, some retard or some, like I am pleased to report, like, it almost, like, if this was in my email kind of deal, like, what I'm about to read to you guys, and there's also, like, which, W-H-I-C-H, at one point, isn't here spelled W-I-T-C-H, also the way, the wording, all this is stuff that was, like, if it was in my email, like, or something, like, somebody emailed me this, I would think it was spam. Like, I'd be like, this isn't a real email. Like, this just seems off, but whatever. Which, if anything, makes me think he probably actually did write it. But it says, I am pleased to report the United States of America and the country of Iran have had, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East, based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which, like a witch on a broom, which will continue throughout the week. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of ongoing meetings and discussions. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So in here, we have a claim that they are having meetings, they're having discussions, and now he's going to hold off for a 5-day period before they attack these Iranian power plants. Although they'd given them 2 days before, with 48 hours. Now we're given 5 because there are talks occurring. It's funny when you sift through these replies. There's all a bunch of people being like, do they even realize? Do they know they're in a negotiation? I also do want to mention, I find it interesting, bringing it back to the markets, as this person says, do Iranians know they're in negotiation? Trump makes an announcement just before market opened. He says, well played. So right before the markets open, he claims, we're in talks, we're a complete total resolution of the hostilities, right before markets open. So, and everyone, a lot of people in the chat being like, does Iran know? For those who've been paying attention to diplomacy in the Middle East, or just really anything Donald Trump has done for the past few years, you're like, he does all sorts of crazy diplomacy where he just says shit, and then people are like, that never happened. Well, we're looking at another one such situation of this. Here's from the Iran military news saying Trump backed down. There were no negotiations. Apparently, a senior Iranian foreign ministry official said, there are no negotiations underway with the United States. We reject Trump's claim about ongoing talks, and the Islamic Republic of Iran will not accept any negotiations until its objectives in the war are achieved. Trump's remarks are a retreat from his earlier threats, but Iran's position has not changed. As for the Strait of Hormuz, we reaffirm that this passage will remain closed to aggressors. So, according to Iran, nothing has changed at all. Now let's listen to Trump. Now he's addressed these remarks on Fox News. This taco that is not a taco, weird situation. What does he have to say for himself? Maybe a little bit more fleshing out what's going on here.
Want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal too. We're going to get together today by probably phone, because it's very hard to find a country. It's very hard for them to get out, I guess. But we'll at some point very, very soon meet. We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out. They want very much to make a deal.
Okay, so they want to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal. We're going to get together today. I very much doubt they're going to be getting together. So if it goes well, we're going to end up settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out. So just more big guy talk. So I have a feeling this is a whole nothing. This is literally just complete and utter bullshit for the markets. But I don't know. Maybe he will manifest reality. He's seemingly signaling. Once again, I'd like to talk in a tough guy sort of way. As this stuff's all going on, we got some interesting reports coming in. Apparently there was an attack on the Diego Garcia base. There were missiles launched on it, and apparently, it was claimed Iran did it, but then there was these counterclaims. It's not looking like maybe it was Iran. Maybe looking like it might be somebody else. I've seen some reports, people saying it was our greatest allies. So the UK has slammed reckless Iranian threats after missiles targeted a joint U.S.-UK military base located on the Indian Ocean island of Diego Garcia. However, Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs on Monday denied the allegations that it was behind the launch of what U.S. media reports said were 2 ballistic missiles. The U.S. has not commented officially on the firing of the missiles. The incident over the weekend came 3 weeks into the war launched by the U.S. and Israel against Iran on February 28th. Let me see. Let's scroll through this. Now, was Diego Garcia Air Base targeted by Iran? The attempted targeting of the Diego Garcia joint military base by ballistic missiles reportedly happened between Thursday night and Friday morning, According to U.S. media reports, the Wall Street Journal and CNN reported that one of the missiles failed mid-flight while the other was hit by a U.S. interceptor fired from a warship. It is said to have happened just hours before UK missiles were to assemble, or ministers were to assemble in London to discuss the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran. At the meeting, the UK agreed to let the U.S. use its military bases for collective self-defense, such as hitting Iranian missile sites used in attacks on shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Mohamed Saloom, a lecturer at the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies, told Al Jazeera the reported Iranian attack changes the calculus of the war for the U.S. These missiles to Diego Garcia mean Iran has 4,000 kilometer plus ballistic missiles, and that hasn't been revealed before. All reports that Iran had a 2,000 kilometer range and not beyond that. If you reverse the direction of these missiles, then they could reach London, so that changes the calculus not only for the U.S. and its justification for the war, but also for reluctant London and European Union to join the war. So, to put that simply, just for the people who maybe miss a little bit of that, essentially they're basically saying that if this is true, that Iran attacked this Diego Garcia base, this would essentially be doubling of what we previously knew their capabilities of like distance to reach out and touch somebody are, which is significant. So it goes from, what did they say it was, 2,000 kilometers before to now a 4,000. So 2,000 kilometers being 1,240. So we're looking at like a difference between a 1,200 mile radius or a 2,500 mile radius, a huge difference. But on the flip side, we have a denial from the Iranians. So a senior Iranian official told Al Jazeera that Tehran was not responsible for the alleged missile launch. Then on Monday, Iran's foreign ministry formally denied those behind the missiles aimed at the Indian Ocean island. Foreign ministry spokesperson Esmail Bagay said in a statement on X the missile launches were a false flag operation and suggested that Israel might have been behind them. So Bagay also referenced NATO General Mark Rutte's comments on Sunday when he told CBS News the alliance cannot confirm Israel's claim that the projectiles targeting the Diego Garcia Air Base were Iranian intercontinental ballistic missiles. So we have conflicting reports. So if you are to believe Iran did this, then magically, which I guess it's possible they just managed to withhold this information. We just didn't have that intel that we were, crazy wrong about how far their missiles could go out, or it wasn't them and it was Israel. And at the same time, too, we've got strikes on Dimona. For those who recall what Dimona is, that's where the non-existent nuclear facility of Israel is. So we got Iran strikes on Dimona, kind of signaling, oh no, this could descend even further if we got Iran targeting nuclear stuff. And then there's obviously the irony of that kind of implies, oh, they have nukes, which we all know this. But on the flip side, Iran does not. And Gabbard was recently before Congress, and in that thing, she confirmed that they were not rebuilding their nuclear program. She testified before the Senate Intelligence Committee on Wednesday, where she faced several questions about Trump's war in Iran. She told the committee that after 2 weeks of Israeli and U.S. bombardment, Iran's military projection capabilities had been largely destroyed and strategic positions significantly degraded. However, Tehran has achieved some important success in the conflict. The government remains intact and in control of the country. Iranian forces continue to fire missiles at U.S. allies in bases in the Middle East, and Iran has been able to prevent U.S. and Israeli-linked cargo from passing through the Strait of Hormuz. In her opening remarks, she attempted to hype the alleged threat that Iran poses to the U.S. Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, and Pakistan have been researching and developing an array of novel, advanced, or traditional missile delivery systems, conventional and nuclear payloads that put the United States at direct risk. So even there, she's kind of conflating Iran with this whole coalition of nations and implying, well, like Russia has nukes and they're sort of friendly with Iran, so that's an issue, right? Retarded. Yeah. She later clarified that Iran does not currently have an intercontinental ballistic missile program and would take nearly a decade to produce a functioning ICBM. So they do not have the ICBM, which is kind of what we were just talking about in the story before last, which that would essentially imply they probably have ICBMs if they're reaching out that far. She also admitted that Iran's nuclear energy program was destroyed by the U.S. and Israel during the war last June. Now, the big thing here became this weird hedging of words where this whole idea of an imminent threat. And she goes, well, I can't determine what an imminent threat is. That's not for me. So, yeah, I'm not going to make you watch the whole clip here, but I'll read the back and forth between Ossoff, was it Senator or whatever the hell it is, Senator Ossoff and Gabbard here. Which, instead of watching the whole 3-minute clip. But this seems to be her go-to, where she's doing this weird language trick where she's not able to determine what imminent is. That is only, it's up to the president to determine what an imminent threat is. Like, I understand he was the ultimate decision-making, but it's bizarre to say that, like, you're incapable of determining what imminent is. Ossoff, he says, your opening statement stated that as a result of last summer's airstrikes, Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated, correct? Gabbard, that's right. Ossoff, the White House stated on March 1st that this war was launched to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime. Does the IC, the intelligence community, assess that there was an imminent nuclear threat? Gabbard, the only person who could determine what is or is not an imminent threat is the president. Ossoff says false, which it is. Like, I don't know. This is a very weird line that she's having to hold. All right, moving on past the Iran back and forth. We still got more murders going on in the Pacific. We got 2 killed by a U.S. missile strike on boat in the Eastern Pacific. More murder on the high seas. I could watch the video, but you get the idea. Another grainy explosion with no intel provided and just murder, murder, murder. Isn't that wonderful? And then more murder, if you weren't satiated with all the murder we provided before. We got more murder in Somalia. So we got the 47th bombing in Somalia this year, working towards that high score. They just might make it. Continuing on over onto Lebanon, the Lebanon death toll passes 1,000. So that's what the current update is over there. Here's a little bit of here's an interesting happening over in Lebanon that I think you guys might I don't know, maybe get a kick out of it. It's the wrong way to put it, because you guys would be sick in the head if you like that. But apparently, this reporter right here which is a Russia Today reporter. He recently got attacked in Lebanon. He got targeted in Lebanon by Israel, which isn't like surprising, but it's just crazy that we caught it specifically on camera like this. Let's watch this.
Further rocket attacks were reported against Nahariya and admitted. Fucking hell. Fuck. Where?
Wild. Now they're okay. I mean, you could tell it was actually, it wasn't that far. I mean, let's back up. We can see the explosion right here. Boom. Like, you see that little spot right there, right behind where he was standing. Oh my God. That's like probably 10 to 15 feet away from him. So that's crazy. Look at that. That is nuts. That would scare the absolute shit. But he was fine. Apparently he's fine. I think he sustained some sort of minor injuries. Let's look through this piece real quick. Sustaining injuries in an Israeli airstrike just north of the city of Tyre. His cameraman was Ali Rida. That guy was name was Steve Sweeney, the reporter. TAT came as they're covering a previous Israeli airstrike in the area, and there was footage available of the direct attack on the crew. So yeah, it looks like a deliberate targeting. I mean, you could see them. They're in the little press jackets and everything. This is dropped from, I believe, a fighter jet, they said. Let's watch a little bit of this. Oh, here we go. This is a cameraman. I'll just read it. It's in different language. It says Israeli army target us deliberately. It says at Qasem Bridge while we're wearing official press uniform. never mind. Well, there's nothing interesting there. My bad. Okay, here, where do we go? All right, that's it to that story. I thought there was more to it for some reason. I thought there was like a video of like them recapping it after the fact. But either way, crazy. Being targeted, just I don't know, just nuts to see. Press, explosion 15 feet away. Luckily, they're okay, but unfortunately for the people of Lebanon, it's not looking great for them. Apparently, Israel ordered destruction of all bridges over Lebanon's Litany River, which, I mean, with the people being displaced in Lebanon, essentially they've been ordering people to, evacuate, kind of what they're doing a lot in Gaza. But this one's particularly fucked up because they tell them to leave, and then they get all past a certain region, the Litany River, and then they destroyed all the bridges. So not only are those people stuck over there now, they can't even get back. And if you decided not to evacuate, you're stuck on the dangerous side of things. So yes, more wonderful stuff coming out of Israel. That's Israel Katz, by the way, who the Israeli defense minister. He says he has announced that he's ordering destruction of every bridge across the Litany River, raising doubts over whether the hundreds of thousands of people they ordered evacuated from south of the river will ever actually be allowed to return. Which, let's be real, I think they had in previous statements kind of seeded in like, oh, well, like when we feel that we can be safe. Like, okay, well, it's kind of crazy how the Israeli nation never, ever, ever feels safe. So it's almost more of a personal problem. Moving on, and once again, why would you feel safe around these people? They're attacking Syria now. I don't know if you guys remember. I think the last word we had about Syria on the foreign policy side of things was a couple words. We had the initial kind of them talking semi-favorable. I think they even made some sort of statement about helping in the fight against Hezbollah. Because if you understand the Islamic dynamics over there, they're like different sects, so they actually don't really care for Hezbollah anyways. So the Syrian people, generally the Syrian people, the military people of Syria generally don't care. Al-Qaeda generally does not care for Hezbollah. So, but then we also got the kind of murmurs out there that they don't like them, but they also don't really want to get involved in this larger conflict. Not really a great time for them, a fledgling country. You're already kind of treading on them, stealing a whole bunch of land. It's kind of not really the greatest time to be like, oh yeah, we're going to go to war for Israel. Not going to really be looked upon favorably by your people probably. But Israel doesn't care because it's a win-win either way. Either way, they have their puppet dictator in there, or they have a destabilized nation. Either way, it works. But they're now attacking South Syrian army camps. And you will not believe their excuse for it. They're carrying out overnight attacks on the Syrian military and the Sawadia government, claiming to have hit a military headquarters as well as multiple army camps and weapons storage in the area. And what they presented is retaliation for violence against the region's Druze minority. So this is because they're just crazy civil rights warriors here. They're the heroes of the downtrodden, is what they are. They're anytime they see racism, they see you see minorities, they come right to the rescue. Everyone knows this about Israel. So this is what it's about, the Druze minority, which for those who recall in our coverage of Syria in months past, there was this international minority skirmishes back at the Druze. You had HTS, which is the countries. There was another one. There was the Israelis, the Druze. Even then are this weird. It was a whole thing. Which, don't get me wrong, a lot of that stuff there seemed pretty fucked up. But just a little bit bizarre. Israel kind of how convenient. So Israel Katz, the defense minister, accused the Syrian government of exploiting the ongoing Israeli war in Iran and Lebanon as an opportunity to attack the Druze, and said Israel would not allow this, threatening further attacks of greater force. Interesting, relatively little is confirmed about the putative attack on the Druze in the first place this time. Clashes reported in Sawadia, and Druze groups claim 9 Druze were killed. Fighting doesn't appear to have been entirely involving the Syrian military. However, the Druze claimed a government-run checkpoint had detained a number of Druze civilians. So, now I mean, obviously we don't know exactly why they're doing this, but to me it kind of looks more like what a convenient excuse for them to shit all over Syria. They'll probably try to nab up some more land because we've been talking about land grabs in Syria. Anyways, they've been doing that. So let's be real. It's probably just going to be an excuse to grab more land. And I feel like the real reasoning is because Syria didn't do what they wanted and weren't willing to jump into this. But that's just me speculating. All right, that's all we got on foreign policy. Man, that was we're definitely going to have to cut out the third segment of the day. It's Fed cyber scamming. We'll have to save that for tomorrow because, I spent way too long on foreign policy. So we'll go through our second segment going into Robert Mueller, a little bit of a blast in the past, a little bit of looking into the early lore, not even early, some of the lore of No Way Jose for some of the newer people here. You might get a kick out of that. But let's roll through the chat, say some more hellos, say some more good mornings, and then we'll do the last segment and then we'll get out of here. We'll save Fed cyber scamming for tomorrow. There's, like I said earlier, there's stuff I wanted to add to it anyway, so it works out. Northside, I don't know if I said good morning to you already. If not, good morning. He said 2014 is when Ukraine kicked off. So further to my point, because I think it was Trump, it was 2016 was the election. So you had a good couple of years while Trump was in that we had the Russia-Ukraine shit going on. So you can't use they gave money to Ukraine. Yeah, shut the fuck up, you idiot. All right, moving on. Good morning, got this. Good morning, Chuck Bam, saying Mothership UFO over Chicago. Nice. Good morning, Rise to Liberty. I was told that saying no to President Trump is the same as saying no to God. Herder indeed, my friend. Good morning, Tara Jackson, saying hi, JC, and everybody else. Who else we got? Northside says wrong. This guy does he understand the casualties we took at Iwo Jima? I don't. I think he does. That's the only way he can come. Like Rise of Liberty says, I bet he thinks about Marines quite a bit. Good morning, or I already said good morning to you, Rabadi Sadi. That's a fun name. Tara Jackson says my ex-husband was military. He joined later, but I don't think they should recruit high school kids. Yeah, I agree. Nice conversation in the chat, but good morning, Captain Caveman. Whoa, using religion to justify war. Never heard that. Boomer Sooner saying Afroman won. Did I ever say good morning to you? If not, good morning. You are correct. He did win. He is now our great Muad'Dib. JC says General Charles Cornwallis. So we're gonna learn something about Cornwallis because I fucked up this morning. Is best known for his defeat at the Battle of Yorktown in 1781, where his surrender to American and French forces effectively ended the American Revolutionary War. That's why he was a big Brit general, but he was like a well-known one. Yeah. Good morning, Boomer Sooner. More money. Hell yeah, baby. Give me that money. Feed the kitties fun. $2. I will give them some money after this for sure. John Black says my cats are experts on war. They are. Cats are. They're the art of war. They are peak art of war. Like everything they do is all about that. They are really kind of like peak warriors. Like if you could be like a Khajiit from that would be the move. Like if I could get animal powers, it probably would be cat powers. To be honest, cats are pretty fucking awesome. Like you ever seen a cat jump? Like extrapolate that from a human. That would be insane. Like I'd be leaping on top of buildings and shit. So yeah. All right, moving on. Jack Moses, look at his psychotic eyes. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about Bongino. Like, I'm not even sure. We looked at a lot of eyes, but you're probably talking about Bongino. He has weird, creepy little beady eyes that he just looks like just evil going on there. Although he knows he's coming for evil. Good morning, Jack. Good morning. Good morning, Charles Adams. I already said good morning to you. He says, appreciate Jose, Tower Gang for life. 9/11, baby. Yeah. Tower Gang for life, indeed. Yeah, we need to do another Tower Gang episode. I saw they did. They had Toad and Cole on NDS a while ago, so sort of like Tower Gang. So I don't know. Maybe they hit me up last minute and were like, "Can you come on?" So I would have gone on, but I had already dead that day. So maybe we'll set it up for another time. So yeah. Moving on. Good morning, GitHub. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, Camarneel. Good morning, good morning. Gotcha says, I make foreign policy fun. I mean, you know what? If I can make murder fun for you guys, that's great. Transhumanist Jose. Yeah, if I can make myself into a cat guy, like a cat boy. Isn't that a thing? Cat boys? Like a thing, cat boys? Yeah, that's a weird horny thing for people out there. So, yeah. Transhumanist Jose. Yeah, give me some Khajiit DNA. Let's fucking go, baby boy. Charles says cats are way more athletic than dogs. Yes. Good morning, Daz. All right, let's get into our last segment of the day. Talk a little bit about Robert Mueller. Talk about resting in piss. It's mostly just a little bit of a blast from the past, just kind of digging into. But if you haven't heard this before, you'll be blown away. But to kind of start, I guess, on the RAP things, there was a legend who died. Before we go into a literal demon, let's look at this angel, this beautiful man, this beautiful. And I don't want to hear any of you say a goddamn thing about his support for Israel. He's a fucking boomer. We're going to forget about that. I get it. He just loved to deep throat Israeli cock, but I don't care. I don't care. This is Walker, Texas Ranger. He has died at 86. You will put some fucking respect on his name. Do you understand? Rest in peace, Chuck Norris. It's kind of sad. Okay, I'm being a little sad, but it is kind of weird. Like, it's so far as like online people, or not online, but like famous people that I've never had anything to do with in real life, like dying and feeling a little bit sad about. I'd say Chuck is probably pretty high up there. Like I really am a pretty jaded person that doesn't give a shit about celebrities. But Chuck Norris, I had many days as a little like 6-year-old in my whitey tighties, eating cereal, watching Walker, Texas Ranger, and be like, this dude fucks. This dude's awesome. And he did fuck, and he was awesome. And for that, a big old salute to you, buddy. I know you're beating the shit out of angels in the sky or what, something cool. You're doing something cool. I don't know. I don't have a Chuck Norris joke for this, but I do got to mention Chuck Norris died. I really didn't believe it for a long time. I thought it was some sort of weird joke, and then there was going to be some sort of punchline, be like, just kidding, like he defeated death, or I don't even know what the punchline is here, but it just seemed unbelievable. This man would die, especially 86. Somebody'd make it to 90s, but bummer. Chuck Norris is dead. Apparently he was just like working out like days prior and stuff, still in good shape. So you never know. You never know when world will get you. But on the flip side, every now and then me and Trump just come together. Me and him just really, really vibe on something. And this is one of those moments. Robert Mueller died. So Donald Trump says, Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. You know what, though? I'd say the same thing about Donald Trump, to be completely honest. But at the same time, when he's right, he's right. I am happy Robert Mueller is dead. Fuck that guy. Well, I don't know if I'd say happy. I guess I'd rather him being like rotten in prison or something. But yeah, if you're like, are you bummed or do you care? No, fuck him. Fuck him so fucking hard. And you know why? We're going to go into why. We're going to go a little bit into why. That's what we're doing this last segment today. Here's our homie Ken Silva saying Mueller oversaw a program to have FBI informants organize Nazi rallies around the country in the mid-2000s. Saying, I consider this one of my best stories. Read it here. Now, a lot of you guys might remember like a couple years ago, it was like a big deal. It was kind of a big talking point for a while of like, these things are like kind of implying these things are organic. And even amongst some of the the right-winger types out there, they would almost get like pissy when you're like, why is it anytime, Patriot Front does something, everyone's like, oh, they're fucking feds. Why is it like anytime white people do something, you go, oh, they're fucking feds. Oh, we can't even do anything because you go, oh, they're fucking feds. And then they're always kind of go like, but meanwhile, there's never really been anything to show. And that's completely another bullshit. Anyone's followed my show for any length of period of time, no, they've been infiltrating the right wing for decades upon decades upon decades, all the way back to the good old Gordon Call, and even before that. Which we have covered on the show. Actually did a whole episode on that with Ken. Go check that out. Type in Gordon Call in the search bar. I'm sure you can probably find it. Or just Call. I think it's like Kahl. Interesting little look into the past of the right wing and infiltration of it by feds. So this is a tale as old as time. But Ken really just fucking smoking gun to this bitch. And kind of more the more recent stuff, kind of around the mid-2000s. You guys may remember some of the stuff like Charlottesville and stuff. And this kind of became the this thing like, oh, look at the right people, oh, they're feds, and like, oh, that's so stupid. Like you'd have the lefties being like, oh, you just call everything like this feds, and then you also have some of the hardcore right wings like, oh, what? Anytime a white guy does something, it's feds. It was fucking feds. Surprise, surprise. It was fucking feds. Which, to be clear, like I'd say the same shit about like if it was some like Black Panther group that was behaving in a similar such way. It's like. The times when they're not infiltrated, you usually can kind of tell because you probably don't hear much about them. And even then they end up getting in trouble for some fucking silly bullshit or something. So, to be clear, I don't have any problem with militias. So, but, all right, let's get into the story. Let's get into it. This is a multi-part story. This is I believe this was his Fed Files, Ken Silva's Fed Files, but we're just doing the first part today, which kind of really hones in on the Mueller stuff. This is the hidden history of Robert Mueller's right-wing terror factory. So this was written last year, actually. Well, actually, June. Actually, not even last year. So, no, it's 2026. So last year. Yeah, about a year and a half-ish ago. So in 2007, Orlando residents were furious to discover that an FBI informant had organized a neo-Nazi rally through one of the city's mostly black neighborhoods a year earlier. To come into a predominantly black community, which could have resulted in great harm to the black community, I would hate to be part of a game. Orlando City Councilwoman Daisy Lynham said at the time, calling for a full-scale investigation of the matter. However, an FBI agent testified that his informant participated in the event but didn't organize it. The city's uproar passed without a public investigation, full-scale or otherwise, until now. Thanks to a trove of previously unpublicized law enforcement records, interviews with several players involved, Headline USA can reveal that the Orlando neo-Nazi rally was indeed organized by the FBI. The Orlando event also seems to have been part of a larger program to hold Nazi rallies across the country. Nazi. According to FBI records, the Bureau sponsored those events despite knowing they led to an increase in the number of card-carrying Nazis in America. Moreover, the FBI Nazi rallies led to a much larger operation to target right-wing groups, dubbed Primitive Affliction. The operation featured a motorcycle front group, rogue undercover agents, outlaw bikers, Satanists, bomb makers, and a fugitive on the lam in Mexico. To top it off, the FBI's Nazi operation was briefed to the highest levels of the Bureau, including to then-Director Robert Mueller, according to at least one record unearthed by this publication. Little has been written about Primitive Affliction outside of the Anti-Defamation League and Southern Poverty Law Center. Biased groups that trained agents in the case accorded newly revealed records. Despite the lack of publicity, Primitive Affliction covers a crucial time in right-wing extremist history. It began where the FBI's 1990-era cases against the Aryan nations trailed off, and it helped shape the neo-Nazi groups that would march at the 2017 deadly Charlottesville Unite the Right rally, an event that inspired Joe Biden's 2020 presidential candidacy. Along with big picture history, the records from Primitive Affliction reveal malfeasance by FBI agents and officers who today hold higher positions at the Bureau. The FBI declined to comment. Mueller didn't respond to an email about Primitive Affliction. About a year after the 2006 Orlando neo-Nazi rally, the FBI source who organized the event, David Gleddy, had his cover blown in open court. When the Orlando Sentinel reported that Gleddy organized the march, his handler reportedly denied the accusations, saying that the informant marched but didn't lead the rally. But Gleddy told this publication a different story. He said the FBI instructed him to organize the rally for two main purposes: to raise Gleddy's profile in the neo-Nazi movement and to allow the FBI to conduct surveillance of the Nazis who attended the rally. In fact, Gleddy told his publication the FBI was staging Nazi rallies across the country with similar goals in mind: to raise the profiles of their own informants while building a database of Nazis to track. Here, let's actually watch this clip from when I had David Gleddy on my show. So I was actually part of this journalism that occurred. Obviously, it was mostly Ken that got this done, but I had my hand in all of this. On my show, me and Ken interviewed David Gleddy, who was a former FBI operative. He referred to himself as an operative as opposed to informant. The difference being because an informant is somebody usually, in his opinion, has someone who is like been committed a crime, or he's just doing it for the love of the game, for the patriotism. It really was probably one of my best interviews I've ever done, so I do recommend it. But let's watch it. Let's see what Gleddy had to say.
One of my family knew. So when I got exposed, it was a big, because at the time the FBI, just before that, was having me put on Nazi protests, and there was Nazi protests going on across the country that were handled by the FBI and operatives like myself. And that, when I took this step out there, because I had to get the permits in my name, if you check the records, the permits for the Orlando, Florida Nazi protest in 2005 was in my name. And I was all over the newspaper, and people that knew me was like, oh my God, what happened to David Galletti? I used to go out with him in high school. You know, my mom's like, David, what the happened to you? I just saw the newspaper, you're having a Nazi protest. I didn't raise you like that. And I was all in. That was the first time, you know, where you get your picture in the newspaper as a Nazi and you're having a Nazi protest. You're all in. I had events at my home that I still live in. I have 2 homes.
All right, let's get back to the piece. So at the time, the FBI, just before that, was having me put on Nazi protests. And there were Nazi protests that were handled by the FBI and operatives like myself, he said. Galetti's statement is a bold one and shouldn't be taken at face value. An undercover operative and private investigator, he said the FBI trained him to lie professionally. But in this case, Galetti's allegation is borne out by the evidence. For starters, there's the fact that the group that Galetti marched with in Orlando, the National Socialist Movement, or NSM, was founded in the 1970s by an FBI informant, a fact revealed by Headline USA last September. That FBI informant, Robert Brannon, was active during the Bureau's COINTELPRO era, and he chaired the NSM for nearly a decade. One other former NSM member Other former NSM members have also accused FBI of staging the mid-2000 rallies. For instance, according to former NSM member and current prison inmate Bill White, the FBI sponsored the 2005 Toledo rally, which would be one of the most violent racial protests until 2017 Charlottesville. In October 2005, FBI, confidential human source, Jeff Shoup, asked me to go to Toledo, Ohio, to help organize a march against black crime by what were supposed to be local residents, but were really federal CHSs, White said in October 2020 sworn declaration, referring to Shoup, who led the NSM from the 1990s until shortly after the 2017 Charlottesville Unite the Right rally. While there's no smoking gun evidence that Shoup was an FBI informant, when he led the NSM, numerous other neo-Nazis have accused him of being one. There are also FBI records from the early 2000s showing he at least spoke to agents once, and perhaps the strongest evidence is that he now works openly as a reformed Nazi with groups sponsored by the DHS, FBI, and other law enforcement organizations. Along with his accusations that Shoup was a Fed, while White also described the Toledo rally as being similar to what would happen in Charlottesville 12 years later, with the local cops and FBI allowing the neo-Nazis to clash with the left-wing counter-protesters. On the day of the march, the Toledo police and the FBI occupied and ordered myself and the NSM to use another parking lot. I and a small team from the NSM arrived before the communists to secure the location. No police were present at the time, White said. About an hour later, police began to deploy and directed NSM members to enter by driving through the mob. This started problems. After the police line formed, the mob then attacked the police, not us. A March 2006 FBI report about the Toledo rally largely matches White's description of events, though it admitted the fact that law enforcement failed to keep the Nazis and counter-protesters separate. Before the NSM could begin their march, local residents and counter-demonstrators began throwing rocks and bricks at vehicles, local residences, and businesses. Toledo police responded by firing tear gas into the gathered counter-demonstrators and local residents. Toledo police advised the NSM to leave the area for their own protection, and the NSM complied, the report said. Local residents and counter-demonstrators continued to clash with the police, looting a store and setting fire to a local bar. This rally and riot and the attendant media coverage for NSM was deemed a great success by the majority of the white supremacist movement, the report added. NSM reported increased fundraising and increased applications for membership immediately following these events, the report concluded. The last sentence in the FBI report is particularly telling. It demonstrates that even if the FBI didn't stage the Toledo event, it knew that neo-Nazi rallies increased the number of card-carrying Nazis in America, and it chose to stage one in Orlando via Galetti anyways. If all that evidence, Galetti and White statements, the evidence that Shoup was an informant, and the smoking gun evidence that NSM was founded by an informant weren't enough, Headline USA also unearthed a document showing yet another NSM Nazi rally was organized by an informant. That document, a 2006 FBI report, reveals that a November 2005 rally against violence in Kingston, New York, was organized by the notorious white supremacist talk show host and former NSM affiliate Hal Turner. His name is redacted in the report, but his identity is corroborated by a separate ADL article. The Kingston rally, held by Turner, who outed himself as an informant in 2009 after he was charged with threatening public officials, was apparently uneventful. An ADL report from the event said it drew about 50 supporters and 100 counter-protesters. The low turnout may have been because Turner was already suspected in the neo-Nazi movement of being an informant due to his provocative calls for violence. He has alienated some fellow racists in the past by making threats against them and because others consider him a liability for having urged violence against public figures, the ADL's 2005 article noted. In fact, some white supremacists have said that they would only attend the event if Turner were not the one in charge. Turner didn't respond to an email seeking comment. In a vacuum, the FBI's mid-2000s neo-Nazi events had little impact on national politics. However, as this series will show, they set the stage for even larger and arguably more sinister FBI operation to target right-wing groups. Indeed, after Gletty staged the 2006 Orlando rally and has cover blown nearly a year later, the FBI apparently decided to up the stakes by creating a neo-Nazi motorcycle FBI front group. That front group, the 1st SS Cavalier Brigade Motorcycle Division, named after a horse-mounted unit of Nazi Germany's Waffen-SS, will be the subject of the next article. Also, the next article, they'll reveal the document showing then-Director Mueller's involvement in the operation, which is one of the first right-wing FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force operations in post-9/11 history. Now, what is he referring to here? Obviously, I'm not going to make you guys read the whole other part. We're not going to do that together. But I would recommend you guys go check out the other part on your own. Go over to headlineusa.com. Check out Ken's pieces. But we're going to dig a little bit into what he's talking about this, a little bit about that biking division and the document that's showing Mueller's involvement. So here's what we're talking. So here's what he's talking about, because he shows right here. He goes, yes, this ran all the way up to Mueller to kind of bring this back to Mueller, finish on Mueller. Here is the piece. He says, okay, I've been promising documents that ties then Robert Mueller, then FBI Director Robert Mueller, to these post 9/11 PatCon-like ops. Here's a performance review of an undercover FBI officer in Primitive Affliction, which was centered around a neo-Nazi motorcycle front group. Mueller was briefed daily. So here is the piece. It says Orange County Office's performance evaluation attachment. Name Master Deputy Kelly Boaz, Raider Sergeant John Allen. Period covering this report, July 31st, 2011 to July 31st, 2012. Data report, August 3rd, 2012. Says Master Deputy Kelly Boaz has been assigned to the Joint Terrorism Task Force since October 2007. He assigned to a squad responsible for investigating domestic terrorism and weapons of mass destruction related matters. He is also an accomplished and well-respected EOD technician who serves as a WMD assistant coordinator for the FBI Tampa division. As a member of the domestic terrorism squad, Deputy Boaz successfully manages a large caseload. He's a knowledgeable investigator with a very strong work ethic. Deputy Boaz regularly works long and irregular work hours. He's a team player who is always willing to help other members of the task force, other members of the sheriff's office, and personnel from other agencies. Deputy Boaz has a broad and varied law enforcement experience, including assignments to agencies, narcotics division or section, gang unit, crimes against persons squad, and the WDW investigation squad, making him a skilled investigator and proficient interviewer. He prepares reports and other documents that are well written. His strong organizational skills allow him to keep supervisory personnel informed of his casework despite his busy and unpredictable schedule. Deputy Boaz is physically fit and trains regularly. In addition, he provides agency defensive tactics training to newly hired deputies. During this raiding period, Deputy Boaz played significant roles in concluding two notable JTTF domestic terrorism cases. The two following paragraphs were provided by the FBI supervisory special agent assigned to supervise Deputy Boaz and detail his role in ensuring the successful outcomes of both cases. The SS Cavalry Brigade. 3-year investigations of the SS Cavalry Brigade, the armed and violent faction to the Aryan nations, was brought to conclusion with the arrest of 6 individuals linked to the group. TFO Boaz was directly responsible for the results of this investigation as the co-case agent and as one of the undercover employees who infiltrated the group. TFO Boaz led this investigation to identify links between this group, the Black Pistons, the Outlaws, and other groups. The investigation utilized 4 undercover employees, a T11 or III or 3, I don't know, pen registers, GPS tracking, and other sophisticated techniques, all predicated on information developed by TFO Boaz through investigations and the use of informants. TFO Boaz's efforts disrupted and dismantled this domestic terrorist organization with charges of paramilitary training, threat to use destructive devices, conspiracy, narcotics charges, prescription pill charges, and other charges. TFO Boaz received a commendation from the FBI for his efforts and leadership during this investigation, particularly in regard to his development and use of confidential informants. And there's more. And then here's continuation, I think, of the same one. Yeah. And then American Front as well. There was something called American Front that he was part of. So there's another JTTF investigation, which was active for 5 years, was brought to a conclusion with TFO Boaz's course of action and leadership. As a result of an informant being compromised and a threat of action in the group, TFO Boaz, in consultation with his partner and the FBI supervisor, developed a strategy to address the American Front organization in Orlando. The American Front is a national, militia-styled, anti-Semitic, white supremacist, skinhead organization which is planning and preparing an inevitable race war. Again, TFO Boaz's teamwork and leadership were demonstrated as planning and execution of the plan to disrupt and dismantle this organization. TFO Boaz led his team in the presentation of the probable cause to the state's attorney to garner support and approval of a search warrant. TFO Boaz's presentation persuaded the state's attorney to not only agree to 2 state search warrants, but also to issue 14 arrest warrants based on the totality of the information already in hand and corroborated by much of the information found in the searches. TFO Boaz authored, issued, and served two search warrants, 14 arrest warrants, and provided case briefings to several directors, chiefs, and undersheriffs. TFO Boaz is now in the process of preparing for trial in both these cases, but his leadership and effort disrupted and dismantled 2 nationally significant domestic terrorist organizations. Both cases were briefed to the FBI director daily during the execution of the disruption. So that's the key sentence right there at the end. Both cases were briefed to the FBI director, so both this American Front and the Cavalry one. Debbie Boaz, as a dedicated investigator, works tirelessly to ensure the success of the Orange County Sheriff's Office and the JTTF. The end. So that little, I know there was a lot to read. I thought it was a little bit of an interesting look inside of the ops that these guys are doing and kind of the way they look at it from there. But then also that one little line that, Mueller was being briefed daily on this stuff. So, I mean, I guess you could say that was bullshit, but I doubt it. I think it's legit. All right, let's roll through the chat. Let's get out of here. Then we'll I have a fun little outro for you guys. I think you guys will love it. But then we'll get out of here. We'll get out of here. That's the end. That's all I got from Mueller. Rest in piss. Fuck him. So let's roll the chat. See what all you guys see if anything else is in here. GitHub says it didn't have true Tower Gang energy. The dude in the ski mask wasn't bringing it. The dude in the ski mask was Cole. He is Tower Gang energy. So I haven't watched the whole thing, so I don't know. But yeah, I could see how like NDS with Cole and Toad, just that vibe. But yeah, that doesn't quite have the Tower Gang vibe. I don't know. Tower Gang may just be done. So I don't know. Captain Caveman says Chuck Norris was a gay freeze. You shut your fucking mouth, okay? You shut your mouth about the king. Yeah, so you'll see your heroes fall and find out many were not heroes at all. Yeah, see, Tom says, I don't care whether he says, I genuinely can say I've never even considered whether or not Chuck was a fan of Israel. He fucks. Yeah, see, I don't know. I've never even thought about, like, is Chuck Norris support Israel? I don't care. Good morning, Mia Ginnady. Sharing a link about America's top 10 richest countries. Okay, well, appreciate the engagement. Good morning, electric crickets. Said Bourdain hated whites, like Anthony Bourdain. That's random. Oh, okay. Good morning, first name, last name, with an N in the chat. Nice. Ryan Bradley, good morning to you. Says Boaz and his partner are Jachin pillars in the terrorism unit. Hey, I see what you did there. A little I forget. Is that correct? Is it spelled correctly? Is Boaz and is it Jachin or did you misspell that one? But either way, I know there's like the 2 pillars in what, the tabernacle or whatever, or the temple or whatever. I forget. But yeah, that's a biblical reference right there, Ryan. Good job. Good morning, Simpando. It says, at Zeko Anime. I don't understand the reference, but I will say it. Good morning, Murder Death Kill. Says, where are my keys? Oh, hello, gang. Okay, I didn't mean to share that, but I didn't mean to share that negativity. But all right, guys, let's get out of here. For those who want to support what I'm doing, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can find the show on YouTube, Rumble, all the major auto podcatchers, and Twitter as well. On Twitter, that's at TowerGangJose. Everywhere else, it's the No Way Jose podcast. So just search No Way Jose, and it should pop right up. And for those who want to support the show in the best way you can do that with money over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. You got a QR code right here that you can use if you prefer to use that as opposed to typing it into the browser. And the low level of $2, you get a whole host of perks. You get access to early episodes. I try to do about 1 to 2 of those per week. And you get about 4 behind the paywall on at any given time. You also get access to ad-free RSS feed. You get access to Telegram. You get access to pre-show, post-show, and the video calls on me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, which is tomorrow, Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So give us a big call. It was a fun episode last week. Got a lot of great calls. Hopefully we get more of those. And the highest level is my sponsors on Patreon. I give them a big shout out for their support. My previous co-host and Tower Gang, at Leonard Toad, also at Brigade D's, at ZLVRCK, at _Invisiel, Tim Tuttle, at John Klebold, a big fan of the show, Torn May, at Wayne Texas, Wonder Car for Kids, No Free Lunch, Jack, Mark Vestibule, and Jacob Wintergrad of the Biblical Anarchy podcast. With that, guys, enjoy this fun little outro. This is what the POV of you're trying to sleep, but Mike Tyson is your sleep demon. I think you'll get quite the kick out of this. I was laughing uncontrollably when I watched this. I may have been a little bit under the influence, so I don't know. Maybe it's not as funny now, but I think you guys will get a kick out of it. Love you all. See you all tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, give or take. I don't know. We'll see if I make it on time. But we'll see you all then. Bye-bye.
Now you know how everybody I ever fought feels like. Why you stuck? Why you paralyzed? What's going on? What's happening? Oh, you can't move, you're stuck, your whole body's paralyzed. Sleep your time over, it's time to get up and do something. It's time to move. Why you sleeping like that? Right now you look just like a guy I hit one time. You look just like a guy. You look just like a guy that did that to me, stuck like this. Can't move nothing. You're stuck, you're paralyzed, you can't move. This is what it feels like to get hit by me. Oh, you can't move no more. This is what it feels like when you get hit by me. This is what it feels like, you're paralyzed, you can't move. You're awake, but you can't move. You're stuck. And you're thinking it's gonna be like this forever. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. You don't know. None of us know. Now you know how everybody I ever fought feels like.